What up, though? It's me, Ken Elkins from Black Leaders Detroit, here with another episode of Speak for Yourself. Today we have a very special guest with us, Miss Monique Phillips. Hello, Monique.
Hello, good afternoon.
And so what we do here, a tradition of our organization, of course, is to allow our guests to introduce themselves, right? To make sure that we don't miss what you want people to know about you. I know your title and some of the general information, but there might be some things more than your title that you want people to know. So tell our audience who Monique Phillips is.
Well, awesome. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on your platform. I really appreciate it. Black Leaders Detroit is just an incredible organization that serves our small business community very well in our nonprofit community, so I really appreciate you for that. So just a little bit about myself. I am the CEO of MP Consulting Group, which has been around since 2015, and it's a small business that focuses on helping nonprofits secure the resources that they need through fund development efforts. So I predominantly serve grassroots and smaller nonprofit organizations, but I also serve large multi-million dollar nonprofit organizations across the country as well. Okay. My entire career has been in the philanthropic space, and I always like to tell people, philanthropy found me, I did not find it. Okay. And so obviously you may notice I'm wearing a t-shirt that says Matrix. It says Matrix Human Services, which is an organization that I was fortunate to join March of last year. So a little over a year I've been with the organization. And so basically what I do is essentially that. I consider myself to be a fundraising expert. Okay. And so I spend a lot of my time partnering, collaborating with different organizations, social enterprise organizations, small businesses, et cetera, all over the country, because I am passionate about philanthropy, and I'm passionate about helping nonprofit organizations not only learn what it takes to be successful in fundraising, but nonprofit management as a whole. There's so many wonderful nonprofits out there who are just doing amazing things, but I think for me, the educational component it often lacks. And so I appreciate being able to educate nonprofits on what it takes to build a successful fund development program, and how to operate your nonprofit in general. And so that's essentially what I do. I'm also the founder of Detroit Nonprofit Day. That's in partnership with the University of Detroit Mercy. That event was founded in 2018. And that is an event that I am extremely proud of. Okay. It's an opportunity for nonprofit organizations, no matter what size you are, no matter what kind of nonprofit organization you are, no matter what your position is within the nonprofit organization. This is an event where you can come and you can network and you can collaborate with your peers in the space. Nice. There are thousands of nonprofits within the city of Detroit, and so it's imperative for us to know one another. And I take pride in my part into building and bridging the ecosystem so that our nonprofit organizations and our small business and our social enterprise communities can come together to network and collaborate and innovate, because that's how we bridge all the different divides that exist within our communities, and we help make our community a better place.
Nice. Now it's interesting. There's a few things that I actually want to touch up on that you mentioned. Hopefully I can remember them all. The first thing was when you said philanthropy found you, you did not find it. I think I know what you mean by that, which is quite funny, because I agree with you. But expound on that a little bit.
Yes, it's very interesting. And the first thing that I want to state is that I really do believe that there are some topics in education, the educational curriculum, that are missing. They talk about how financial literacy is lacking in our school curriculum. Well, all different types of career exposure opportunities are missing as well. I would have never found philanthropy as a career pathway of mine had it not been for my educational pursuits at Clark Atlanta University. Okay. So I was a grad student there, and I received my master's in public administration with a focus on public policy.
Okay.
And so that program, shout out to Clark Atlanta, by the way. But that program really exposed me to so many different things. And so the National Forum for Black Public Administrators is an organization that really tries to look out for up and coming public administrators and giving them opportunities throughout the governmental space, throughout the philanthropy space, et cetera, public policy. And so they came and did a presentation while I was in grad school one evening, and one woman came up, Dr. Catherine Foster-Rao, who's my mentor to this day, and she said, you know, I work at Families First, and I'm looking for interns to work in our fund development department.
Okay.
All I knew was that I needed an internship to graduate.
Right, to graduate. So, bet I'm there.
Yes, I don't know what this is, but
fund development. Oh, we gonna develop funds.
Right, we're gonna have some fun in the development. So I approached Catherine afterwards, and you know, the rest is history. And so I actually secured the internship, and she was, I learned under her tutelage, and I raised $300,000 in 3 months.
Nice. Wonderful.
With zero grant writing experience, with no exposure into that world. And so quite naturally I was offered a full-time position after that, full-time paid position after that. And that's really how I got my start. And so,
good job on that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. And so that was January 2013 or something like that. So quite a while. And so my entire career trajectory has been in the nonprofit space, predominantly in the human services space. And so while my degree was in public policy, I also have a bachelor's degree in journalism. And so I understood how those two worlds connected to philanthropy, and how I was able to utilize my skills to be able to write stories persuasively and to be able to tell stories persuasively so that we can essentially secure resources that marginalized communities needed to be able to increase their quality of living. And so that is exactly what philanthropy can do, you know, if you do it the right way. And so I fell in love with it. You know, I fell in love with the idea that my words could hold so much power, you know, that if I do this the right way, you know, I could literally change lives just with my words, you know, through the power of philanthropy. And what I love about philanthropy is it's so multifaceted. And what disheartens me is the fact that not many of our younger brothers and sisters know about this industry. They don't know that it's $1 trillion industry. They don't know that you can go off and create your own LLC and make, you know, 6 figures, you know, like I do, you know, through my business. And that you can go off and work a 9 to 5, and that you can continue to climb up the ladder. You know, you can become CEO of a large nonprofit organization or of a large foundation. You know, there's just so many different avenues. And so the intersection between policy and philanthropy is essentially what I deem as to be my life's passion.
Nice.
Since
It's
that
interesting,
experience.
like you were saying, because my path was definitely a philanthropy finding me as well, right? Not quite like yours, because I'm not a writer, so I despise writing, but I am a people person, right? And I'm a relationship builder, and I love to engage those around me. And so with that being said, when I went into my first position as an executive director, I'm thinking, crap, I don't want to have to raise money. I don't want to have to ask people for money, especially for large sums of money, right? How intimidated it could be. I don't think people really understand to ask somebody for $1 million off the rip, right? And you got to let it come out your mouth. When they say, how can I help you? You have to say, well, we would benefit greatly if you could give us a grant for $1 million and blah, 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 and kind of go from there, right? And so, but once I got into it, I was very anxious about it. And I worked for Big Green at the time, which was a company founded by Kimball Musk, which is Elon Musk's brother. And so we would go to these parties and be billionaires, and I'm a kid from Saginaw. And so it seemed overwhelming and intimidating at first, for the first 10 minutes. And then after that, just realizing, man, I have a gift. You know what I mean? Let me utilize my gift in this space. And as I became more comfortable with it and just doing what we do naturally anyways, and what I do naturally anyways, I actually fell in love with philanthropy, right? I fell in love with fund development. I fell in love with building relationships. I fell in love with asking for money. You know, yeah, you know, with no blinking, you know.
Yes.
So definitely a similar, or just how you fall in love with that. I wonder if anyone really chooses philanthropy.
You know,
a couple people, because I know they got certification programs and that kind of stuff.
They
So
do, but those are people who are generally already in the space.
That's true.
Because
That's true.
It's easy to me now. I mean, even though I'm always learning and I feel like, you know, I kind of know what I'm doing a little bit at this point, I still find people that say, oh, no, I could never do what you do. You know, I could never want to do that. And I like to hear you say ask for money, because people say we beg for money. Which you can kind of feel like that, but you got to like it.
Right.
You
have to like it, and you have to be extremely comfortable with it.
Exactly.
And extremely comfortable with getting to know and asking.
Exactly.
Again. You know, like,
exactly.
Oh, that's a no for right now. You know, how do I change that no into a yes, right? So, like you said, you definitely have to be extremely comfortable with it, with the ask. Now, backing into another thing you spoke of, and this is dealing more with your consulting company, and you say you have a passion, of course, for helping nonprofits, right? Helping nonprofits find the resources they need, but more especially also helping nonprofits run like a business versus a nonprofit. So talk to us about how important it is for nonprofits to understand the difference of just running their business, their nonprofit as a practitioner and doing the work, and then also running it as a business.
Great question. You have to run your nonprofit like a business in this day and age if you want to keep your doors open. Sustainability is the name of the game, right? And so what we started to see was COVID funding has run out for most organizations, including my own, and for many of my clients and everybody else, right? And so now many nonprofits are going back to their pre-pandemic funding levels. Right, and so what happened was you saw a lot of nonprofits, or what I saw was that a lot of nonprofits had to close their doors because they could no longer function without that funding. They had to downsize. And when you downsize, what does that mean? That means you don't serve the number of people that you serve. That means the quality of the service that you may have prided yourself in providing, you can't provide that level anymore. You know, and so if you don't have the business sense, the business acumen to say, well, I understand this is temporary, because we were told, or they were told early on, that it was temporary funding. It lasted a few years though, so it was nice. But now what? And so many, like I said, their doors are closed, and they've had to downsize their services, and they've had to lay off staff. And so what happened was a lot of the staff, they went into other industries that paid more money. So, I mean, there's so many different issues that we can get into with this particular topic. But if you don't run your nonprofit like a business, and I would say probably even before you begin to, or as you're thinking about building out your fund development program, you need to be thinking about a number of things. One, how you diversify your revenue. What does your business or your back office look like? Do you have a CPA? Is your CFO a CPA? You know, do you have someone like that on your team? Because, you know, you have to be able to keep your doors open. So when this grant does not come through, you know, or when this funding does not get renewed, you won't be left, you know, scrambling, trying to figure out what to do, and how are you going to make payroll the next, you know, the next cycle. And so that's why I said the educational piece is probably more important to me than being the practitioner, because there's so many nonprofits that I run into, and this is why I created Detroit Nonprofit Day, because in my time of driving all around Detroit, in the Metro Detroit area, serving all different kinds of clients, you know, who were in counseling, who were in education, who were in arts, no matter what it was, you know, they had this great idea on how to, you know, run their program and how to serve their people, but they had no idea how they were going to raise some money, how they were going to continuously raise some money, and, you know, how they were going to sustain themselves year after year after year. You can't just think about, you know, running a great program, because guess what? Somebody down the street is doing the same thing.
Doing the same thing, right.
You know, and so that was part of the reasoning behind starting Detroit Nonprofit Day, was because I actually wanted nonprofits to come together to see, hey, a lot of you all are doing the same thing. How about we collaborate?
Which is always tough, because no one wants to collaborate.
Right, but what I appreciate about the community, the D&D community, they gave themselves that name, by the way. I didn't give them that name, so I love that. What I love about the community is it just depends on how you put them together and how you set it up. The network activities that are built into the event are pretty nice, and so we have all the education people come over here. We have all the I don't know, the arts people come over here, arts and culture. You have all the business-minded nonprofits over here. And then you'd be surprised at how many come to me afterwards and say, I had no idea that this company existed. And here I just refer to the nonprofit as the company. And I found myself doing that because that's exactly what it is.
Right, it's a company,
and so you have to innovate. You have to come up with different strategies in order to work harder to keep your doors open. Sometimes it takes, partnering with this organization to take this piece of activity off of your plate because they do it better and they have the resources for it. And free up your time and your budget and your capacity to do this one thing that you do really well. And now you have a greater opportunity of keeping your doors open because now you're being recognized. Your brand is being tied to doing this one thing really well. You have your niche. And so that is really the unique value proposition of Detroit Nonprofit Day, because not only do I want organizations to see that, hey, there are lots of you like this in the community, and we need to see how you all can work together, because I'm pretty sure there's some collaboration that can be fostered here. But I also want them to, recognize that, you have to, there's lots that you need to learn through the various workshops, program development, program measurement, evaluation, budgeting, capital planning, so on and so forth. And so nonprofits, running like a business, it's multifaceted, and you have to have the right kind of skill set and the right kind of talent and knowledge base on your core team to be able to keep your doors open and operating long term.
Are you looking to elevate your next gathering with a touch of sophistication? Look no further than Janet K Charcuterie. Picture this, a beautifully arranged spread of delectable bites crafted with the finest local ingredients designed to impress even the most discerning palate. At Janet K, we pride ourselves not only on our exquisite charcuterie offerings, but also on our unparalleled commitment to customer satisfaction. Whether you're hosting a cozy dinner party or a lavish soiree, let us help make it an unforgettable experience. Visit our website at janetk.com or give us a call at 313-405-7445 to place your order today. When it comes to charcuterie, think of Janet K.
Okay. Now, when you mentioned something that kind of struck with me. You mentioned collaboration, right? And again, I kind of made a comment about how nonprofits don't like to collaborate that often. Do you find it, in my career, what I found is people talk about collaboration, but because of a scarcity mindset, not too many people actually participate, right? Because okay, this funding is gonna follow you, or I gotta give you some funding, or you might take my program and do it yourself.
Or do it better than I do.
Do it better than I do, right? And it's all of these things. Because when I was with Big Green, I tried to collaborate with a few different organizations because we were new on the block. And I just got people turning their nose up at me. And I'm like, dude, I just want to do what's best for our community. And what's best for our community is to work together so that we can make sure that we aren't overlapping, that we are reaching everyone in our community, right? And so there are some benefits, huge benefits in collaboration. Now, so from even your past careers and even with Detroit Nonprofit Day, have you found that some nonprofits suffer from that same
scarcity mindset? Yeah. So I wanna say something about that. I actually take an interesting approach to that question. There's a lot of duplication going on out here. There's a whole lot of duplication going on out here. Sometimes your nonprofit is just not the best at doing this, and really, ABC organization over here, they're already doing it, and they probably need to keep doing it. And you're literally doing the same thing. You're touching the same people, but you claim that your idea is, and I think that's we need to be more people like myself, who are in positions of, consultancy. When you see something, you say something. That's just kind of how again, one of the ideals behind Detroit Nonprofit Day is getting everybody in the same space. It's because sometimes you need to recognize that either one, there's someone out here that you didn't know about that could actually be a great partner to you.
Right.
You actually can collaborate and be a great referral partner or whatever that looks like. But then, there are some companies who are right within your immediate radius.
Yeah.
And you're literally all doing the same thing. And so the problem that you're gonna run into, that nonprofit is gonna run into, is they're gonna run into X, Y, and Z Foundation, and they're gonna see that X, Y, and Z Foundation is already, they know about who all the key players are.
Right, so I asked the famous question, what makes your programming different?
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. And so that's what I actually find myself engaging in with nonprofits a lot of time, is helping them to find their value proposition, helping them to build their needs statement and their cases for support. And many nonprofits that I work with, they have neither. They have neither.
Right.
You just think because you're saving this little boy right here that, X, Y, and Z Foundation is supposed to give you $50,000 for this one boy. And meanwhile, this nonprofit over here in the same vicinity is serving this boy, his whole family, and their network of people as well. And so who do you think has the advantage? And it is still a dog eat, what is the phrase? Dog eat world.
Yep.
And so, what nonprofits need to understand is foundations are tasked with, giving their dollars to organizations that they feel are going to make the greatest amount of impact with those dollars.
That's it.
And so it's never about not encouraging someone to pursue their dreams, form their nonprofit, do what they want to do, but the research behind doing what they want to do and why it's necessary for them to do that compared to all these other, and know what the others are doing.
And who they're servicing.
And that part also
Maybe
lacks as
you want to service a different
well.
part of the city.
Exactly.
Because I always say because I used to work for the Toledo Community Foundation, and one of the things they used to always say was, I was CEO over there, and I was like, well, we have all these organizations, 100 organizations doing the same thing, and so they need to merge or collaborate or blah, blah, blah. We're not going to give them all the grants. We'll give one grant and they all can work together. But my pushback on that was always, well, who are you to say that these organizations are all, that they're not servicing different people, right? Because obviously there's a need, right? If there's no way any one organization, no way, could service all of the people that they target for their services. It's impossible because there's so much need, right? And so I see a value in having multiple nonprofits doing, even if they're doing similar work, but as long as, like what you just said, if you do your homework at the beginning, right? Don't duplicate this organization. Don't do exactly what this organization do. Don't do it exactly for the same geographic area or population of people. Change it up a little bit so that you are servicing more people. And we're really doing what we said we want to do and helping people, right? If you're helping the same people, then there's a bunch of other people who aren't being helped, right? So I do see the value in that. Let's go to Matrix before we have to jump off the show. So talk to us about Matrix. Most people think Matrix is like a child care organization, right? Right, so talk to us a little bit about Matrix.
Yeah, so Matrix, it was founded in 1906, so it's 119-year-old nonprofit organization. And you would think that so long of being in the community that people would know everything that the nonprofit does. I mean, right, you should be able to just roll it off your tongue. It should be a household name by this point in time. And so that's essentially why I was brought on. So serving as the VP of Development and Marketing, my job is twofold. So I manage a development team who is responsible for building the relationships and securing the resources and managing our volunteers to be able to fund our programs. And then I manage a marketing team who's responsible for helping to raise the public profile of Matrix Women's Services and to proliferate the work that we do and the impact that we make. Matrix Matrix Human Services, while it is the City of Detroit's largest Head Start provider, and we're very, very proud of that, there are also a number of human service programs that the organization operates that are just as impactful.
Yeah.
So for example, we have our adult services division, and actually we quantify our work in 3 main buckets.
Okay.
So Head Start is one of them. Community health is the second bucket, and then essential services.
Okay.
And under the essential services bucket, you have adult services, you have youth services, you have senior services, and then you have the Matrix Center.
Okay.
So I start that by saying, just leaving Head Start out of the conversation, so our largest program, it comprises the largest percentage of our budget, so it is
Okay.
our bread and butter.
Okay.
So not to take anything away from our Head Start program, we are
Okay.
educating a lot of young people throughout the city. But within our other programs, what we're helping to do, for example, in our adult services program, we do a lot. So we help to upskill Detroiters. We help to job ready Detroiters. So our Skills for Life program is a program that we're very proud of in partnership with the City of Detroit, right? And so what we do is we recruit Detroiters to come into the facility, and they get paid to train. They get paid to learn about the career pathway that they chose,
Nice.
that they want to pursue. And then we have a partnership with different employers.
They come to Matrix to your downtown location,
So
where they
the-
go to get the training?
So that great question. So I work at the downtown location, which is the admin location, but our main community hub is called the Matrix Center, and that's located on East 6 Mile.
Okay.
Yes, so that is where our programming predominantly takes place, the vast majority of our programs. And so Skills for Life is a 5-day program, 5-day-a-week program. And so 3 days or 2 days out of the week, they come to the center and get their training. They're paid for that. And then the other 3 days are on site applying their training. And so we have partnerships.
Whatever job that they, or career they learning, you guys set them up with that.
It depends upon
employer?
It depends upon the employer that we have that partnership with.
Okay.
So currently the partnership has been with the General Services or GSC department with the City of Detroit. And so now what I've been tasked with doing, along with our COO and other members of our leadership team, we are working to build that employer pipeline, right? Because we know that we are upskilling all of these Detroiters and giving them an opportunity to get their lives on track. Many of these, these are adults. Many of these were opportunity youth. So these were individuals who, for whatever life circumstance, something happened, but they found their way to Matrix Human Services, and for that we're grateful. And so everyone leaves the program, with a job, with skills, with tools that they need to be able to gain a credential that is going to earn them a high and family-sustaining wage. And that's what we really care about here.
Okay.
So workforce development, I would say, aside from community health and Head Start, is our next largest program that we're really working to beef up. We have an ED2Go program as well that's adult-based, and that's a program where folks can earn their high school GED online, and we have a funder who funds that program. And so, every cycle there's a graduation, and it's just, really remarkable. We have a housing program, and so we're really proud to be a HUD certified counseling organization. And so what that means is we provide a number of housing services for those who are experiencing housing instability, whether you're an individual, whether you're a family. And so if you're homeless on the streets, or couch surfing, for example, we want you to contact Matrix so that we can connect you to resources. If you are struggling to pay your rent, because what we do recognize is that in the 48205 zip code where Matrix is, that's considered one of the poorest, if not the poorest zip code within the City of Detroit, immediately surrounded by 48224, which is also considered, they flip-flop between 1 and 2. So they're right near each other. And I actually grew up in the 48224 neighborhood zip code back in the day, so I know all about it. And so we are strategically placed because we want to be easily accessible for the people in that neighborhood to be able to get to and to, find resources to change the course of their lives. And so if you want to learn how to buy a home, if the land bank, if you're having issues with the land bank and they have your home, we have a program to help you buy your home back from the land bank. Like I said, if you are homeless, if you're not able to pay your rent, I actually go out and I have conversations with funders and I say, hey, we have this many families who are getting ready to face eviction. And while we're not an emergency services nonprofit, I want to be clear about that. We do recognize that the different services that we provide, they're all interconnected.
Right.
So typically, someone who's dealing with housing insecurity may also be dealing with child care issues, which is why we have the Head Start facility for them, or program for them to enroll their child in, so they can go to work and then be enrolled in our workforce development program. So it's multi-layered wraparound supportive services that we offered. We have a youth services program that's really well run.
Okay.
We're a GDYT partner. So yes, so we bring on GDYT youth every summer. There's an in-school and after-school program for all kinds of youth, even those who are criminally justice involved.
Is that at the 6 Mile location? Those
Yes.
programmers are in schools.
So we have partnerships with, I want to say, about 14 or so schools.
Okay.
And so that's the in-school portion of our program.
Right.
But the out-of-school program exists at the Matrix Center.
Wow.
So there's a
Okay.
brand new computer lab there. The Matrix Center is getting ready to undergo a massive revitalization, and so we're very proud about that. And we have a senior services program as well. So if you know an elderly person who is in need of a number of services, if they need transportation to medical appointments, to a social appointment, please give us a call. I'm raising money to get us a vehicle so that we can, have our own means to be able to get our own people around and service people even outside the city of Detroit, right? Because we understand the immediate, we just care about our seniors,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And they live in Hamtramck, they live in Highland Park, the surrounding suburban areas. And so I'm working to expand that program. If you know a senior who needs chore service, if they're having issues with cleaning their home, if they are having an issue with their roof, if they need something repaired in their home. We have the Detroit Home Repair Program in partnership with the DTE Appliance Program.
Okay.
So this is what I'm saying, like, people really need to understand the full scale of services that we offer. And what I'm most proud of is we just recently opened a partnership with Be Well Medical Center, a clinic. A medical
Okay.
clinic that's right across the street from the Matrix Center.
Oh, really?
Yes, and it just opened. Dr. Benson is the lead.
There's a building right
doctor.
across the street from the Matrix?
It's actually a house that we.
Okay.
So that's what we're working on now. So we're working to get the signage out there. Literally just opened,
Okay.
and so it's currently accepting patients. So we want folks from the community to go and check it out.
Okay.
And you can find all of these details on www.matrixhs.org.
Okay.
And you'll find everything you need to know there. But yeah, so the clinic is open and we're operating, and it's a family medical clinic. And
Okay.
so we want folks to go and take their kids and take their families and, get the services, equitable, high quality services that they need and that they deserve right in their very own neighborhoods.
Love it. And it's interesting because, like you're saying, Matrix Human Services it truly is human services, right?
Absolutely.
Really, truly. And for what it sounds like, from ages 2 to
Birth to senior is our tagline.
Okay, birth to senior is
Yes,
the tagline.
yes.
Which is a huge
It's the full
population of
lifespan.
people to serve, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that you guys have so many wonderful programs to assist people with whatever those needs are, whether they're emergency needs or semi-emergency needs, or just life skills, right? Or just a beautiful thing. So Matrix is definitely a gem for the city of Detroit, and of course I'm sure they're happy to have you on board to continue to promote the wonderful services that are being offered by the organization.
Well, I am just as happy to be on board and to support the organization. I'm proud to affiliate myself with an organization that is the largest provider of human services to the greatest number of Detroiters each and every year.
That's huge. All right, before we go, we do have these variety of segments. I think you and I have talked about one, code switching.
Yes.
One of our segments that we do here, and the code switching. The thought around that is, just times you found yourself having to code switch, or times you found yourself not wanting to code switch, or why it's important to code. Like whatever you want to discuss around code switching right now. To just warm you up a little bit, of course, with myself, for a while struggled with code switching, right? Really not being authentically me in certain spaces. And again, there is some value to that. But what I've learned is, as I code switch, because of course I am going to cater my delivery based upon the people that I'm talking to. Right?
Right.
That's just what a salesperson does. Right? That's what you should do, right? But making sure that even when that's happening, I remain authentic, right? And so that's the delicate balance. But talk to me about like your views on code switching.
I'm a fan of code switching. You know, I feel like, you know, you can be yourself authentically. I think that most people are multifaceted. They have more than one layer to themselves. I definitely try to be myself in many and in most circumstances. So I think I shared with you before the program, I'm from the East Side. You know, I'm from East 7 Mile. Then we moved to East Warren Caju. Then we moved to the next street over, Warren Caju.
Okay.
So, you know, I am East Side till I die.
Right.
Was that code switching? Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
You said die. You said all of die, so you still was.
I'm East Side till I die. That's it. You know, and and I don't take no smack talk about the East Side.
Right.
So I just code switch. You know, because I'm passionate about where I'm from.
Right.
You know, and I don't believe that the West Side is better than the East Side. We all share the same.
Right. We all.
The West Side, it might be a little cleaner.
Right.
Side,
It's
but,
funny.
You know.
I always struggle with that when I moved to Detroit. I'm like, why East Side, West Side? Like it's all Detroit, right?
Exactly.
East is all Detroit, but you know, but
it's just but one thing about Detroit is we are some prideful people.
Oh, definitely.
And that's what I love about us. And I travel a lot, and I also lived in Atlanta, and I actually hear that a lot about people from Detroit. Folks always say, "You guys love and are proud to be from Detroit," and I say, "Yes, that is absolutely true."
People don't live in Detroit love to say they live in Detroit.
Now they do.
Now they do. Right.
It's hot.
Right. It's hot.
Back then they didn't know me. Now
all on me. You live in Sterling Heights, not Detroit. Right. No, I'm Detroit. Right?
Exactly.
Detroit versus everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. So I just code switched.
You just code switch, see? But that is, but I agree with you, especially with the multifaceted thing, right? To where, especially within the Black community, we have to be multifaceted, right? Because the way we communicate is part of our culture. It's not ignorance. It's not all these other things are often said negatively about us. This is our culture, and when you are immersed in a culture, you act the way the culture or speak or whatever the case may be. But I think we all were taught like, okay, that's cool, but in this situation, you need to be able to do this. In this situation, you need to be able to do that. In this situation, you need to be this.
And I think code switch, not to interrupt you, I think we should replace, if I'm allowed to say this on the Black Leaders Detroit podcast.
Well, yeah, what we want to replace it with?
I want to replace your white voice. You know, you talking white. You know, people say, Black people, we speak articulately. If we speak, like we have sense, like now we're talking white.
Yeah.
Now you want to put your white voice on.
Put your white voice on.
And I'm just like, can you just replace that with code switch?
Right, with just code switch. Or you just put on a different dialect.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You changed your dialect.
Exactly.
It's funny, I had a friend once. The first time I really, truly saw code switching was I had a dude, he had a doctor's degree from Stanford. Super smart dude, super smart. And we riding, we just listen to, hood music, talking hood language, doing what we do, just having a ball. And then he got a call, and you would have thought that was a whole different person.
Yes.
And I was like, who is this guy? I
am that guy.
Right? Are you that guy?
I am that guy.
Right?
Yes.
And I'm like,
I was that guy this morning.
Okay.
On my way to work.
Just instantly turned it on.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And I remember seeing that and just like, wow. And just really actually admiring it though. Because as soon as he hung up the phone, like, all right. Hung the phone, was like, yeah. As soon as I was saying it, I was like, whoa. But it was just great to see that. I'm like, okay, I get it now. I get it now. So again, just being versatile, right? Being able to switch it up a little bit. And to each their own. If people choose not to, then that's
totally
fine too. But as you mentioned earlier, I think there shouldn't be criticism of those who choose. Right? Like, that's the thing. Is like, if that's not how you want to roll, then fine, great. And I'm not gonna say anything negative about you on that, when I may not necessarily agree that you should walk into every space and speak the same way in every single space that you're in. But if that's how you want to do it, fine. But don't be mad or
As the person who does. Exactly. At the end of the day, you know, everything is about mutual respect.
Yes.
Everything that we do, every communication, every interaction that we have with someone that is not ourselves, mutual respect should always be at the forefront of that interaction.
Love it.
So you can be multifaceted, you can be multi-talented, you can be the best at this, you can be the worst at that, but you still deserve the same amount of support that I'm going to give the next person.
Oh, love it. I think that's a good way to close the show.
All right, sounds good to me.
All right, well, Monique, it was wonderful having you on the show today. I really appreciate your time learning about your consulting services, learning about the works for nonprofits, Matrix, everything that we share. So thank you so much for blessing us.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to come in and share the good works.
All right. Well, that's it. This has been another episode of Speak for Yourself, and we'll holler at you later.